Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome back to another one of my videos. I am Blitz, and today I'm going to be talking about the T6 Dracula, which has just hit the game 2 days ago for crates, which only has a 3% drop chance. Now, as much as I hate crates, I still think the Dracula is an excellent tank. I'm going to be telling you guys all about the tank and everything you need to know about it, including, the statistics, how to run it, where to run it, and, of course, how to take this vehicle out, when to use high explosive, because it is a very, very tricky tank to know how to play against. And of course, whether or not it is worth it to try and gamble some of your money and pick up this tank. Now, straight off the bat, the burning question I get from a lot of players is, what is better, the Helsing or the Dracula? Which one should I buy? And if you want to know which one's better, it's the Helsing by far. The Helsing is just such a more superior tank. It's a well-rounded vehicle. All the statistics on the tank are pretty much just broken for the vehicle. However, the Dracula, I don't consider it a broken tank. The Dracula has some very good statistics, but it also has some very bad statistics. And because of that, the Helsing is just so much more superior, because the Dracula has downfalls where the Helsing literally just has 0 flaws. But this video isn't about the Helsing, so I'm just frankly going to be talking about the Dracula. If you want to see my Helsing video, I have that posted already, and I'll have it pop up right at the top, you can see. However, back onto the topic of the Dracula. As I said, it does have some flaws, and the first one being the gun. It only has 2100 damage per minute, which by no means is spectacular, especially for a tier 7 medium. The T-3485 Rudy does a total of, I think, 2800 damage per minute. That's a very, very high amount of damage per minute for a tier 7, and it's going to be able to take out your Dracula very, very quickly. Compared to the Dracula, as I said, it has very, very bad gun handling as well. The gun handling's, I think, dispersion's 0.32, which means that the Helsing has better dispersion, actually. The Helsing actually has better aiming time as well. So the gun isn't really spectacular on the tank. That isn't what this tank is defined by. It's defined by the speed of it. That is the whole thing that makes this tank broken, is the speed. And it's not broken. I mean overpowered, should I say, because it's definitely not a broken tank. You can easily take it out as long as you have some knowledge on how to really play against it. But the speed is just what makes it such a tough vehicle to go against, because it literally goes 65 kilometers per hour right off of its first inch of moving. It has a power to weight ratio of 39, which is just ridiculous. You're never going to go below 40, 50 kilometers per hour, even when going uphill. And that's what makes the tank so tough, is because it's this tiny little tank that's got, the gun can still pump out quite a bit of damage once you're using it on. And the tank has 10 degrees of gun depression. And when you add that mobility and the gun depression together, it makes this just monster of a vehicle to go against, because it's so mobile. It can use tough spots. It can pop out and just snap you back up, go around the corner, come around somewhere else, snap you again, go around the corner. It's just such an annoying tank to go against. And one of the main differences I really find between the Helsing and the Dracula, which really kills the deal for the Helsing on me, is that even though the Helsing may be a just broken, outright stupid tank, and just you can pretty much pull out 3,000 damage, maybe 1 out of every 3 games you play in that tank. However, that's for me. I wouldn't say that for any, lower or average player like a 50%er. You might be doing 2,000 average damage in that tank, though 1,800. You're definitely going to be doing a lot better than you normally would in any other tier 7. The Dracula, you might be doing awful in it, because it's a very hard tank to know how to play. You can't just roll out and do ridiculously overpowered in the Dracula. It's a much tougher tank to play. And that's because it has pretty much absolutely 0 armor. And the armor is awful, it really is. It's only 44 millimeters thick on the front of it. However, the thing that makes the tank so tricky to know how to penetrate is because of the spaced armor it has on it. Now, when you're in a tank, let's say like an SU-152 or an RHM, when you go up against a tank like 49 or, any lightly armored tank, the LEK-BZ, or a Pantera, you're going to shoot high explosive at it if you have the ability to, and you know that shot's going to penetrate. You're just going to shoot it at its side, and it's 90% of the time probably going to penetrate and do 1,000 average damage. That's a little bit different with Dracula, because it has, as you can see, the whole sides of it are completely spaced armor. None of that counts as the hull, which means that anybody that shoots high explosive at the side of your tank is not going to ever penetrate it. And that's one really big hint on how to take out this tank, is don't shoot high explosive at it. I've tried myself. It's really not worth it. You're going to spend more time trying to aim your high explosive shell and try to penetrate it over you are just shooting at the tank normally. You can see there that Pantera penned one high explosive, but then he screwed up both of his other shells. If he just shot normal rounds, he would have dealt about 200, 300 more damage there to me. If he would have just shot normally. And that's the thing about the Dracula is, to be honest, don't even bother shooting high explosive at it. It's really not worth it. The chances of you actually penning it are very, very low. And the tank is so ridiculously quick, it just makes it such a hard target to go after. Now, I'm not sure what this Pantera was thinking. I'm not sure why he wants to kill me so bad. But trying to rush a tank that is very quick is not a smart idea. And that's one of the things I really love about the Dracula, and why it's such a menacing vehicle to go against, is because it has that speed. As I said before, the gun isn't great by any means. It's probably below average on most of the statistics on the gun. It's just that the tank is so quick. You're able to flank the enemy so easily. You see there's an M6 up here. I'm literally going 46, 47 kilometers per hour up that hill. We're already going 55 now. We're able to flank that M6. He's not even bothering to aim at us because he knows that it's really not worth it. We're just going to shoot him. We even light him on fire. Get a nice lucky fire there, dealing 509 damage. We've already picked up 2,200. And the Dracula is just so quick, it gives it so many opportunities to get the enemy to, come up behind them. You can pretty much outmaneuver any tank destroyer in the game. There's an ISU up here. You're just going to see me just completely ruin his day, because you literally can't do anything to a Dracula once it gets behind you if you aren't a tank destroyer. It's just a deadly tank. You're never going to get away from it. And the Dracula's standard pen isn't spectacular. It's only about 158, I'm pretty sure. But it does have very, very nice APCR rounds that I think do around 238 millimeters of penetration with the APCR, and I do run calibrated, which brings up to 250. That's going to make it so that you're not going to have a tough time penning really any tier 8 in the game. And that is a big bonus for this tank, because that means any tier 8 that you come against, you can easily just snap him and then back up, because, as I said, this tank has 10 degrees of gun depression. And 10 degrees really makes a huge difference when you're running very mobile tanks, because, there's tanks like the AMX-30B. The reason the AMX-30B is such a good vehicle is because it has that 10 degrees of gun depression. That's why it has such a bad damage per minute. Gun depression is such an underrated topic in the game. It makes many tanks much better than they would be if they didn't have it. And gun depression really defines the characteristics and playstyle of certain tanks, because it gives you the ability to pull up, snap a shot with barely showing any of your tank, just the top of your turret, snap the shot and back down the hill. And the Dracula, because it's such a quick tank, it can just do that so easily. You can really just ruin the enemy's day. And that's why I love it so much. It's just such a fun tank to pull out, dart around the map, shoot, flank, and do your job. And to be honest, I know that the Dracula is overpowered. I wouldn't call it even close to broken. The Helsing is broken. This is not related to a Helsing or a Smasher. You're not going to be carrying 5,000 damage games in the tank. You're just not going to be doing it. And that's just because it doesn't have the potential. It doesn't have enough armor, and it's a much harder tank to survive the battle in because it has so little armor. People are going to target the Dracula. It's a very, very targeted tank. I don't think the Helsing is nearly as targeted as Dracula, just because people want to get that thing out of the enemy team. When you come up against one, you're like, oh god, now I have to deal with this guy who's just going to keep popping out every couple seconds and annoying me. People want to get rid of the Dracula first, which really lowers your life expectancy when you run this tank. And if you're an average player running this vehicle, unlike me, it's definitely going to be a much harder time to do great in this tank. So really, when talking about it, here's my overall stance on the two. If you're wanting to know which one should I get, the Helsing or the Dracula, first of all, the question is, if you like the playstyle of the AMX CDC, I really think the Dracula is a better tank for you, because personally, I think the Dracula is just more fun. The Helsing is way better, but it's not fun to run. It's just, the Helsing is good in every single statistic. And after a while, it gets pretty boring running the tank. The Helsing doesn't look spectacular. It's kind of funky looking. The gun gets boring after a while, after one of your shells bounces and one of yours pen, and it just constantly does that. And the Helsing doesn't have a lot of hit points. It's just not a super exciting tank to run. The Dracula, to be honest, is probably one of my favorite tanks to run at Tier 7, at Tier 8. It's one of my favorite tanks to probably run in the game just because how quick it is. And running a double Dracula platoon, don't even get me started on that. It is one of the most fun things you can do. Just pull up on somebody and bully them and then run away. The Dracula is just so much fun to use in the battle. So to be honest, I think the Dracula is a better choice over the Helsing just because you're going to enjoy it more. You're going to feel like you got more out of your money other than just trying to beat the game, because the point of a game is to have fun. It's not to do the best you can and just, ruin the enemy teams. The point is to have fun, and the Dracula, it really is pure fun when you play it. The Helsing isn't really fun. It's just sort of like, meh, I won the game, I did 4,000, okay, let's play another. And it's like that every game. The Dracula, you're not going to do great some games. You might do awful. You might get one shot. And then another game, you'll have a really tense match where you run around the map and you flank and you have to think smart. And that's why I think the Dracula is such a better choice over the Helsing. But as I said in my Helsing video, they're in crates. And I hate crates. I really do. They ruin my happiness in the game because I personally have probably spent thousands of dollars, and I'm being serious, thousands of dollars on crates. And thousands of dollars, I've probably only picked up about 10 or 15 crate tanks with thousands of dollars spent. It cost me $400 on Badger crates, and I never even got the tank. And I contacted Wargaming multiple times when I was trying to get the Badger, saying that it's really just rude and disrespectful to people that spend money, loyal customers, that you're pretty much ruining their happiness. They're not going to spend any more money on the game if they literally can't get a tank that they really, really want. And the Dracula and the Helsing are, and you guys know because you probably have been waiting for them to come out for a while, they only come out once or twice a year. The Helsing only comes out as same as the Dracula, probably the Blitz Fair and then Halloween. And it's really just annoying that you have to try and gamble to get these tanks. It's really just disheartening that you have to spend $50 and you still might not even get them. That's the thing that really agitates me. If you had a chance to get the tank, after you opened, let's say, $150 worth of containers and you had a guaranteed chance to get it just by filling out charms like the Scorpion G, that wouldn't annoy me because you're guaranteed getting the tank. But if you're dropping $150 and you don't get the tank, why? It's just really annoying to me that you can spend that much money and not get the tank, and Wargaming just nods it off and laughs and chuckles with the money they're spending. And that's really why I just don't feel that you really should spend any money trying to get these tanks on crates. To be honest, Blitz Fair is coming out soon, and these tanks will probably be in the Blitz Fair, and you won't have to gamble for them. So, wait until the Blitz Fair, in my opinion, to try and get any of these tanks. But other than that, guys, I really hope you did enjoy this video. And as always, if you did, make sure to smash that like button. If you didn't, hit me up with a downvote. Let me know why. I'd love to hear your guys' criticism. Prove me wrong in some of the stuff I say. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you.